If the grid shuts down in the middle of winter, most people don't realize how fast things can go from a little cold to genuinely dangerous because your house isn't designed to hold heat without constant energy input. And once that stops, you're in a race against time, and it's not comfort. And the biggest mistake people make with off grid heating isn't choosing the wrong system, it's underestimating how dangerous heat can be when it's done wrong. Because every single heating method that works off grid comes with risk, fire, carbon monoxide, and oxygen depletion. And if you don't actively manage all three, you're not heating your home. You're setting a delayed trap. So the goal here isn't just warmth, it's controlled, repeatable, safe heat that won't kill you while you sleep. So let's break this down, starting with the most reliable option, which is wood heat, a properly installed wood stove to the backbone of off-grid heating because it requires no electricity, produces high output, and uses a renewable fuel source. But the difference between safe and dangerous, it comes down to the setup. You need proper clearance from walls and furniture, a non-combustible hearth like stone or metal, and a chimney system that actually drafts correctly. Because if your chimney isn't pulling smoke upward efficiently, it will come back into your home carrying carbon monoxide with it, and that's where people get into trouble. You also need to burn seasoned hardwood, not fresh cut wood, but because wet wood creates excessive smoke and creosote buildup inside the chimney. And creosote is basically fuel waiting to ignite inside your flue, which leads to chimney fires that can spread fast. So, regular cleaning is not optional, it's part of the system. And you should always have a fire extinguisher within reach and a metal container for ash disposal because hot embers can stay alive for days. Now, moving to propane heaters, these are popular because they're easy to use and portable, especially the indoor safe radiant heaters. But people misunderstood what indoor safe actually means. It does not mean zero emissions, it means reduced emissions under ideal conditions. You still need ventilation, even if it's just cracking a window slightly, because these heaters consume oxygen and can produce carbon monoxide if the burn isn't perfect. Many units, including oxygen depletion sensors, but those are backup safety features, not something you rely on as your primary defense. And never use outdoor propane heaters inside, and never place propane tanks near heat sources or enclosed areas where leaks could accumulate. Propane is heavier than air and can pool in low areas, creating a serious explosion risk. And next is kerosene heaters, which are powerful and can heat larger spaces efficiently, but they come with their own set of challenges. Fuel quality matters a lot. Low grade kerosene produces more soot and fumes, increasing both smell and health risk. Wick maintenance is critical because a dirty or uneven wick leads to incomplete combustion, which increases carbon monoxide production. And these heaters also require ventilation and should always be placed on a stable, non flammable surface away from anything that could catch fire. And you should never fuel a kerosene heater while it's hot because that's one of the fastest way to start a fire. Now, diesel heaters, especially the compact forced air units, have become extremely popular for off-grid setups, the cabins and the vans, because they vent exhaust outside, which removes most of the carbon monoxide risk from your living space. But the safety here depends entirely on proper installation. The exhaust must be sealed and routed outside away from the windows, doors, or air intakes. And the intake air for combustion should also be properly managed. These systems are efficient and relatively low fuel consumption compared to other methods, but they still require safe fuel storage and regular maintenance to ensure reliability. And now, one of the most overlooked aspects of off grid heating is not the heater itself, but heat retention, because the less heat you lose, the less you need to generate. And this is where insulation, air sealing, and passive strategies come into play. Sealing drafts around windows and doors can make a massive difference. Thermal curtains can reduce heat loss at night. Rugs help insulate floors. And closing off unused rooms allow you to concentrate heat where you actually need it. And this concept of zero or of zone heating is incredibly effective, especially in emergency situations where you may only need to keep one or two rooms at a safe temperature rather than the entire structure. You can even create a microclimate by using blankets, temporary barriers, or even setting up a smaller insulated space within a room. And let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make using appliances that were never designed for indoor heating, like gas ovens, stovetops, charcoal grills, even, or open flames. These are extremely dangerous because they produce large amounts of carbon monoxide and are not designed for continuous heating use. A charcoal grill indoors is one of the fastest ways to cause carbon monoxide poisoning, and yet people still try it in emergencies. Don't do it. Candles are not a viable heat source either. They produce minimal heat and introduce fire risk without meaningful benefit. So here's the rule: if it wasn't designed and rated for indoor heating, it doesn't get used for heating, period. And now let's lock in the most important safety layer, which is detection. Every off grid heating setup needs multiple carbon monoxide detectors, not one, at least one near sleeping areas and one near the heat source, with fresh batteries and regular testing. This is your early warning system, and it can save your life. Smoke detectors are just as critical, especially when dealing with wood or liquid fuel systems. And you should always have a clear fire escape plan. Know your exits, keep pathways clear, and have a plan for getting out quickly if something goes wrong. And fuel management is another area where people fail, but you need to estimate your consumption realistically and store more fuel than you think. You'll need, because running out of heat in freezing conditions is not just uncomfortable, it's very dangerous. And for wood, this means having properly seasoned wood stored in a dry location, ideally enough for the entire season. And for propane or diesel, this means storing fuel safely in approved containers and rotating it to maintain the quality. Never store large amounts of fuel inside your living space unless it's specifically designed for indoor storage and done correctly. And always keep fuel away from ignition sources. Redundancy is another key principle. Never rely on a single heat source, because if that system fails, you need to be at backup. Even a smaller secondary heater can make the difference between staying safe and being seriously in trouble. And let's talk about heat distribution, because generating heat in one spot doesn't automatically warm your entire space. Heat rises, so using a ceiling fan on low reverse can push warm air back down. Small battery powered fans can help move heat from a stove into adjacent areas, and strategic door placement can help balance temperatures across the room. In every very cold situations or conditions, focusing on a single insulated room is often more effective than trying to heat everything. Now, a quick reality check on electric heating. Unless you have a significant off grid power system with a large battery storage and consistent solar input, electric heaters are not practical. They consume massive amounts of energy and will drain batteries quickly. Even small electric heaters can pull more power than most off grid systems and can sustain. So, for most setups, combustion based heating is the primary solution. Another factor, too, people overlook is moisture. you know, Unvented propane and kerosene heaters release moisture into the air, which can lead to condensation, mold growth, and long term structural issues. While wood stoves tend to dry out the air, which can cause discomfort like dry skin or respiratory irritation. So, managing humidity through ventilation or other methods is part of maintaining a healthy indoor environment. And finally, this all comes down to the mindset of safe off grid heating. It's not about one perfect device, it's about a systems, the layers, in discipline. You respect the risk, you install things correctly, and you maintain them regularly. And you never cut corners because you're tired or in a hurry, because the cold doesn't care if you're prepared. It just exposes whether you are not. And if you're building your heating system with safety as the priority, test it before you need it and understand exactly how it works. You won't just stay warm when the grid goes down. You'll be in control while everyone else is scrambling to figure it out. Thanks for watching. If you really found value in today's video, please subscribe. We're looking to grow this channel, and I can't do it without your subscription. And also, check out this video to the right. It can also help you on your journey, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Thanks for watching.